Cinder remix of Dark Souls 3 by Rotaka. Folks, you know what that song means.
I sure do.
I don't. Tell me.
Well,
It's always
all right.
one.
It's either the second or third Friday of this month, and it happens to be, well, I think it's the third for April here.
Carry the one. Yep, you are correct.
Excellent. All right. Well, it's the third Friday of April. This is the 19th. Welcome to round 67 of Insert Credits with 10K Club. We'll talk about that later on.
Yeah, I
want to
know
know
what that is all about.
Foreshadowing.
Ooh.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm MrBond.
I'm Tormod.
And I'm Saxxon.
Oh, today was a busy day for me, anyways.
Yeah.
Despite having a day off,
Was it a good Friday?
it was an okay Friday.
Yeah,
all
okay.
things considered.
You only had to spend, what, a few $100?
It's close to 500.
Oh,
and
ooh.
it's like
All right.
four times more than I was expecting. But hey,
Oh.
whatever. So
New tires.
that's cars for
and
you.
brakes and
And new
oil,
brakes,
I think.
oil change, swapping tires, and new brakes.
No, that's not too bad then.
It's like, fine, whatever. Just do it and get it done with. So now it's done and car works, so whatever.
Basically have a new vehicle. There you go.
Not just about.
Yeah.
The part that touches the road anyways.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was gonna say
yeah.
about those donuts you promised.
Right. Well, not the consumable kind, unfortunately.
Oh,
I do like donuts though. Donuts are great.
that's true.
They're tasty. Anyways, housekeeping. Round
That's what
68
it was. Okay.
Yes.
in May of some
That's gonna be on the
day.
17th.
May 17th. Very
Yeah.
good.
And I've already named that one.
Yeah, I saw, and I checked our little box for things to be done for that one. So we
Cool.
are ahead of the game on that
Nice.
one already. We plan and act ahead around here because we are professionals.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I think we scheduled round 69. Nice.
We sure did.
You know
It's
what?
going to
We
be a
already
very
have a
nice
title for
one.
that one.
Yeah.
Really.
It's really just gonna be nice.
yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
be nice.
It's
Just nice.
All right, done.
Perfect.
Check that box off
See?
too. Eventually, once the card
Easy
exists.
peasy.
But that
Yeah.
one's gonna be on June 7th, as that is. Well, let's see here. That's gonna be 3 weeks. Well, okay, we'll call it 2 weeks before SGDQ, because it's gonna be the day before we all, well, Saxon, myself, Tina, and potentially others are going to caravan over to Minneapolis for Summer Games Done Quick. You can find information on that at gamesdonequick.com.
2019. My goodness.
My yearly 5-hour drive.
Hey, if there's enough people, we're both gonna have to drive.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a thing. And I don't see any future episodes past that.
I don't think so, and that's perfectly fine, I think.
that
Because
sounds pretty okay.
2 months out is probably good enough, and we'll remember on round 68 to hot schedule some more after 69. Nice.
Sounds
pretty
good
nice.
to me.
Okay, very good. Well, that's housekeeping then around the world. Nova Drift. You remember Nova Drift, right?
I
I've
love
talked about
Nova
it like
Drift.
5 billion times on the show
Mhm.
because it's a cool game and it's a fun game. It's out in early access on Steam now.
All right.
As of like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
It feels
So-
like we've been waiting a long time for this.
We have. But if you were a backer or something, you had access to builds before that.
Yeah.
So it was.
It's
I've
kind of
been
nice to
watching
see it, gain some additional exposure though.
Mhm.
Because there's just something about like seeing something like that, like, oh dang, the floodgates are open, here we go.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming out. It's coming out.
I want to be
Delayed for
able to
another
talk
month.
to
Damn it.
non-backers about this.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's out. It's really cool. It's still under active development because of early access and stuff like that. But now it's mostly content updates, since they seem to have understood early access well and made it more of a beta than an alpha.
Yeah.
So that's cool and out, and you should all go buy and or play it,
There you
preferably
go.
I
both.
love that. Like, what are you working on? Like while early access is out, the second half of the code.
Yeah,
We have enough to play the opening cinematic.
Fantastic about that vertical slice.
Yeah. Oof.
Oh my
So
goodness.
this thing we've talked about, I believe last time, which was just a rumor back then, has now been confirmed. The Xbox One S All Digital has been confirmed for a 7th of May release, starting at $250.
Mm,
So the
there you
Xbox One, sad.
Huh? Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
Nobody caught that.
No, I guess
Wow.
not. Their marketers were asleep at the wheel on it, but
I don't know. I'm on the fence about that. I mean, I'm on one hand, it's kind of inevitable that we're going to be moving away from physical media, and so also there's going to be like less like e-waste as a result of it. But on
Mm-hmm.
the other hand, that also justifies like companies doing whatever the hell they want with DRM. So
Yeah.
Oh, our digital store is closing. Sucks to be you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess you can go off and go fuck yourself,
yeah,
valued customer.
that's just gonna make like modded consoles that much more valuable.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's interesting since the Xbox One was originally supposed to not have a disk drive or physical media, and then people threw a shit fit, and then it did, and now we're here again.
Yeah. But that's okay because anyone who cares already owns a console that can play discs.
Right.
And
Yeah.
anyone who doesn't is probably not an owner of an Xbox One.
And I really have no skin in this game, so
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just interesting news, is all. Especially the price point starting at $250, because that doesn't really leave them a whole lot of room to go down.
No,
Yeah.
not really.
But then again, we're probably on the cusp of a new generation of consoles. So...
Yeah, so everybody's
Yeah.
been telling us.
Ugh.
Especially with the PlayStation 5, they're like, it's coming, it's coming, it's
Right.
coming, it's coming, it's
Yeah.
coming. I'm
Right,
like,
right.
okay, okay,
It's
okay,
like,
thanks.
okay, show us.
Yeah.
Shit or get off thine pots.
Zen
please.
2 plus Navi architecture for both PS5 and the new Xbox. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Ye gods. All right, well.
So it's a PC now. Got it. Thanks.
I mean, they have been for a long time.
It's
yeah.
even more of a PC now. We're definitely sticking
Here.
on x86, actually x64 now. But
Definitely converging on everything here,
Ha,
which is
I can even call it
probably fine.
AMD 64
I mean-
because they made it.
But the original Xbox was even that. It was even a GeForce 3 like inside the box. It was a
Was
computer
there
with a
an
GeForce
x86?
3.
I think it was pretty
It was.
close, if not maybe a minor restricted set of it or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Cool.
Hey, well, good luck, Xbox One sad.
Sad.
So there's an HD upscaling mod for Mode 7 that's going to be landing in the next major release of Beast Nest.
Yeah. Well, it's already out.
Is it?
So,
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't remember when I wrote this down, so that
That's
could very
fine.
well be true.
So Beave's been working hard with the person who ended up making the initial upstream patch, and Beav was like, "Well, we stopped at 512 by whatever, and didn't really see any noticeable improvement. This person brought it up to 1024, and damn,
It looks tasty.
and now there's many more options, and it's all really good. And a lot of these tech sites are like, "Oh my God, it's voodoo. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It took 200 hours of manual AI sampling, and no, it's just a code change."
Yeah. And-
So B was lambasting them and trolling them on Twitter all day yesterday,
Yeah.
which was
Lol.
appropriate. So yeah.
yeah, they there was also like a discussion on Twitter about like there being an error in like, you know, one of the vector tables in the ROM. I don't know if it was in the implementation of the ROM itself, but then it kind of sparked a conversation about like, okay, you know, what about features versus, you know, like convenience and accuracy and all this other stuff, and that kind of emulator discussion comes up, you know, multiple times a year, but it's
It was time for the rehash.
yeah.
Yeah. But hey, it makes F-Zero look like not hot garbage, so
Yeah. I mean,
whatever.
F-Zero already
others,
looked
yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, it did.
So-
I mean, you not really were paying attention to the background much because you had to focus on where you
Yeah.
were driving to.
Right.
so-
It's like, that's cool. I can get my blur in HD.
Yeah, excellent. Hey, look at that tiny pixel city below us. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Oh no.
Oops.
Yeah. I leapt into the void and blew up. So
Yeah. Oh, restart.
I just wanted a closer look at it.
Try again. So did we shit on Ubisoft last show? I feel like we did.
I mean, when don't
It's
we?
almost become a tradition
It
at
has.
this point.
It
yeah.
has. So we're gonna break that tradition now and say bravo, Ubisoft. Like
Yeah.
sincerely bravo. Because following the recent fire at Notre Dame, landmark over there, Ubisoft has pledged 500,000 euro towards its reconstruction. So, bravo, Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Even though it's probably just a shit-eating PR move,
Well,
but bravo regardless.
Yeah.
That's very kind of you.
And by over there, we mean Paris, France.
Yes. Yes. Sorry.
It's okay.
Should be more specific about over
Somewhere
there.
that's not
Somewhere
in
over there.
Wisconsin.
Across
yeah.
the pond.
I mean, as
Yes.
opposed to, you know, the other Notre Dame cathedral elsewhere on the
yeah, I
planet.
mean that one that doesn't get a fair shake of things. Got the
the one in France gets
Notre
all...
Dame gets all the credit. But yeah, well, on top of that, they're handing out free copies of Assassin's Creed Unity, which
Yeah.
heavily features Notre Dame in the game itself. So
True that.
PR and marketing, yay! But hey, they're contributing towards a good cause and restoration of a significant cultural landmark.
Yeah.
So bravo, Ubisoft. Sincerely. I'm sure we'll shit on you next time. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Do not worry.
That can be almost assured.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
All right, that's what I got on my list. Next.
All right, the release date for Octopath Traveler on PC, initially leaked by a Square blog article, was hastily deleted, but then the damage was done.
Yeah,
so like,
the
fuck
internet never
Too
forgets.
late.
The internet always notices.
7th of June, 2019. I look forward to breaking that game in PC in 4K. It's gonna be good shit.
Interesting.
I highly recommend the game. It is so good. I
Yeah.
have not yet finished my playthrough on Switch.
I highly recommend watching someone play it. No, it's an awesome game. I've just most of my exposure has been either watching Tormod
Well,
or yeah.
All I know
Or
of
watching
it is,
Friends.
is a secondhand boss fight that you were trying to do or whatever.
Hey, it only
whatever
took me like
was.
4 total times, and then they were like, "Oh, magically it decided to work that time."
Oh,
And then you and Kevin were like, "Yay!"
Yay, hooray!
I
we
mean,
did
like
it.
Space 006. Sorry.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It gives me a little time after my office might get wrapped up here. Knock on wood, somewhere.
I think the molding is wood. Yeah,
There we go. All right.
Oh, and the windowsill
Well,
probably
yeah.
too.
Whatever. So I'm hoping to get the office done so I can continue my Let's Play series of Octopath. I have to be like 2/3 of the way through the game. Very overpowered.
You're just gonna like level everyone up to max and then continue the game, aren't you?
Well, that's what I do.
Yeah.
But I need to actually find time to play it. Hopefully soon. I guess I can talk very, very briefly on personal stuff like that. My office recently suffered some damage to the walls because I tried to hang things with adhesive Velcro. Taking the adhesive Velcro off the wall also ripped the plaster off the drywall. Whoops.
Oops.
So that's since been repaired. Now I just have an office full of drywall dust. So that'll be tomorrow's activity, among other things. But hopefully we can get the double curtain rods for the backdrops done, readjust everything. Hopefully that drywall dust is not conductive, and we'll move on from there.
I don't imagine that it is.
I hope
It's
it
probably
isn't.
not. It's just gypsum and
Yeah.
paint. So whatever. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate version 3.0 update brought about things like custom stages, which people are totally
It's,
using to great effect, also known as penises.
Wow,
Yeah.
what a shock.
So, in any case, everybody was real excited for that release and DDoSed the eShop.
I think that's also when they slipped Joker in there, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
The character? Or
Because
maybe they
I
did that
remember
before?
Boris saying that his kids were playing as Joker now, so I was like, oh,
Okay,
that's the thing.
fair.
Yeah, my whole timeline exploded when that happened. But most of it was just because they were joking about Joker being a twink, so
I don't follow the same people as you.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say on that.
I mean, timelines are weird things.
yeah.
Don't cross the timelines? I don't know.
You can if you'd like. I mean, that's all on you if you do, though.
Damn. All right. Well, entire countries are starting to ban more modern games because of their negative social impacts, specifically to children. So, apparently both Nepal and Iraq have banned PUBG. Iraq has done Fortnite and some others because kids are becoming addicted to games. Gee. Somebody in Nepal played, supposedly, as I was reading earlier today, played the mobile version of PUBG in a bad posture for over 24 hours and died.
Oh.
So it's starting to spark some sort of social outlash here.
Yeah, I think they should probably have a chat with South Korea then, because they've
Yeah,
had people die from marathon gaming sessions
Oh,
there
absolutely.
Yeah.
With the old
StarCraft,
gaming
World of
cafes and
Warcraft.
such.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. I remember us talking about that on the show before,
Gosh,
too.
that was
so-
a huge item for World of Warcraft almost I want to say it was over a decade ago. Like someone had played for like so many days straight and just like didn't make it out of the cafe.
Ugh.
Yeah. And now it's becoming an American news item, too.
Yep.
Hmm.
Except in that case they actually have time limits and stuff in cafes now.
Well,
Like they like
sort of.
enforce well they enforce that pretty strictly, like through automated means. You can probably get around that, but
I got up. I sat back down again. I moved.
They're never going to keep me up.
Oh.
Okay, sorry.
No,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
You even got the right up versus down there.
Yeah,
Nice.
see?
That was clever. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Oh dear, what else? Borderlands 3 to release on the 13th of September, exclusively on the Epic Game Store, which, if you listen to last
Oh,
show,
boy.
is now contentious and everybody hates it. So now that decision's being shat upon religiously, and the CEO of who is it that makes Borderlands again? I can't remember. Gearbox.
Gearbox, I
Yeah.
believe.
Okay. So it's all like, we don't give a shit. Shut up. And that was about the end of that.
I mean, the least they could have done is make it Steam exclusive like everything else.
Yeah.
So now I'd be curious if this is a timed exclusive, like almost everything on the Epic Game Store being exclusive since, or if it's actually just Epic Game Store.
Who knows? But hooray. That's been the big to-do in the last week and a half.
What
so.
exciting times to be alive.
True that. More cel-shaded goodness coming, and jokes therein. One last news item. Skybills, a good friend of mine at twitch.tv/Skybills, partner with Team Genji, has been doing a lot of Magic the Gathering things lately, and in her rookie year presently, and was in another tournament online only this time yesterday, and placed 7th. And that was pretty legit, making very big leaps and bounds in skill acquisition and all sorts of cool tactical training with folks and friends, teammates, and whatnot. So, shoutouts to her. She's a good friend of mine, and she has more tournaments coming up. Cool stuff, lots of content going on. So, just wanted to give a brief shout out. It's been a long time since I've literally shouted out a friend on the show, so I figured that was applicable news as it happened yesterday. So that's
Cool.
all I got.
So you mentioned the PlayStation 5, and it's, there was a wired exclusive, and it should come as no shock to anyone that they're going with Zen 2. They're going with Navi. The kind of surprising part of this report, though, is Sony's kind of using a bit of a customized version of Navi that is going to support ray tracing. Now, the significance of this is there was a lot of speculation whether or not Navi was going to have like hardware support for that. And this isn't like a definitive thing, but if it ends up in this report, it could very potentially be the case that ray tracing comes to like desktop PC Navi cards too.
I would almost certainly guarantee that it has to be hardware support because the software ray tracing just makes things crawl.
Yeah, no, I'm talking like hardware support here.
There's an open API for ray tracing now exposed as part of.
Microsoft developed something for that.
I'm
pretty sure everyone's going to hop on.
So it's part of DX12 now.
Yeah, but even if you don't have the specific hardware, like dedicated cores for it, it's just not super
Well,
performance,
as we found
shall we
out
say.
with the is it Pascal? It must be.
Yeah,
the
the
Pascal
10
series GTX cards, having it turned on the driver, and NVIDIA being like, well, we told you so.
Yeah, it works, but you can get 5 frames a second.
Yeah.
But apparently using the DirectX ray tracing API, the Radeon 7 was able to get pretty decent performance out of it. So
All right, well,
Yeah.
cool.
I'm kind of curious
I
if
guess.
it's part hardware, part using that API and optimizing for DirectX.
Yeah, there
which
wasn't
is,
any
of course,
additional
not good for
detail.
Linux gaming, but
Just the report mentioned that there was just, as part of Sony's custom solution that that integrated Navi, that there will be ray tracing. So, given that it's a console, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of horsepower left over to do software versions of any of that. So I can almost guarantee that it's going to be a hardware thing.
yeah, with them probably. But I mean, at least with the Xbox, it's running the Windows kernel. It probably has DirectX support.
Yeah.
So
I still don't actually care about ray tracing, but it is kind of nice to, I think that as more hardware support comes out for ray tracing that isn't NVIDIA, we're going to start to see more support.
yeah,
And
probably.
hopefully, people can really push for it. Because that Quake 2 demo was actually pretty cool.
That did look very sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't give a shit about realistic, 20 bounce reflections on a bullet shell that's headed my way or something in Battlefield 2020.
Yeah.
50 billion.
It contributed
I don't
so
care.
much to the Quake 2 aesthetic, though. That is a game that benefits from this. So
Yeah.
I don't care about Battlefield, so.
Does anybody?
A lot of people do. It's
That's-
apparently very profitable.
The one
so-
Battlefield game is like 50% of the game library that has ray tracing support. So
I just want to use the word COD blops again. So
They're like up to COD Blops 3, I think.
4.
4?
Yeah,
Really?
Black Ops 4.
Jeez.
yeah,
Wow.
it's just fun to say COD blops.
COD Blops. Yeah.
It almost
You're not
sounds
wrong.
lewd, but it's not.
You know, I heard it while I was working at McDonald's like so many years ago, and I'm like, holy shit, that's so goofy. I love it. So now I won't call it
Oh,
anything
boy.
else. Even if they come out with a new Call of Duty that isn't called Black Ops, I'm gonna call it COD
That'll
Blops
be-
because
COD Blops 5.
The COD bloppening.
Oh.
So there's that. So TSMC is a company they manufacture a whole crap load of the different chips that end up in computers and game consoles and stuff.
Transistors.
Mhm.
Yeah. So they announced a 6 nanometer process. Now it's not as significant as it sounds, considering like 7 is kind of the big deal right now. And that's because they haven't quite been able to get down to the kind of transistor density that they want. So like the process is smaller, but they haven't there isn't a whole lot of
Interesting.
benefit at the
Okay.
moment. But they kind of aim to make it easy to migrate from 7 to 6, so that like maybe in future preparation we will get the kind of component density that we're or transistor density that we're looking for. So there's that. Just the implications like lower power, for pretty much the same kind of load, that kind of thing. So also in related news, Tom Peterson, he was a key engineer over at NVIDIA, and he's been sniped by Intel. So it kind of seems like Intel's just sort of like hoovering up a whole bunch of talent, not just from AMD, but also from NVIDIA. And my guess is, if they were able to just kind of bring him in, that they're going to make a really major push when they get around to actually putting out like their discrete GPUs. So
Whenever I hear that term, I don't think of it in terms of hiring somebody away. I think of it as literally someone being sniped.
They just picked him
So
off.
now I'm imagining like an Intel hit squad or something going off and picking off engineers. I'm like, oh,
Damn.
that's kind of morbid.
Brutal. Yeah.
All right, sorry. I didn't mean to make light of a
Yeah.
serious power play of GPU engineers here, but it
it's
just made me
absolutely
laugh a
power
little
play.
bit.
So it's something that happened recently enough where like we haven't really observed like how things are going to change. We probably won't see any sort of like significant difference, but it could potentially change the strategy that both NVIDIA and Intel have moving forward in the graphics industry. So
I think Intel was projecting, 2020 for their discrete GPU release or
Yeah.
whatever it was.
Yeah, supposedly first half of the year,
hmm
but who knows?
yeah,
They keep hinting.
I'll believe it when I see an actual product.
yeah,
That's the thing.
or like at the very least leaked benchmarks. I mean,
Or an image of the card, or anything.
Or
Yeah.
something.
yeah,
A name. A
there
code
was
name?
yeah.
Engineering sample
Yeah,
clock rates that
model,
nobody likes.
a reasonable model number, perhaps.
Yeah.
They'll just be like Dusty Canyon or some weird thing. Like they'll
Or
just
another lake, perhaps. Dry lake, or I don't know.
Hmm.
just no lake at all.
No lake.
Pretty sure
Recorder
that's
lake.
just a giant.
There we go.
That's just a giant pit.
If you wanted a gaming lake, yeah, Recorder Lake. That's a good one.
Ugh.
Yeah. Demon pit, lava pit. Right. Moving on. The last item I've got is so Asus Live update.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. So it distributed some malware by accident called Shadowhammer. Yeah, so apparently someone was able to get into Asus, obtain authentic certificates to sign the new firmware for motherboards, and this update was hosted on Asus servers. So someone was able to infiltrate far enough that the automatic update feature deployed malware to over a million Asus motherboards.
Now, was this might be a different breach that I had read about, but did they discover this one was targeted to like 100 specific machines or some relatively small number?
That I don't know.
I might be thinking of a different one then.
It sounds similar to Shadow something else or other. I don't remember what it was, but
like maybe it was the same malware, but it was only keyed to activate for certain motherboard serials or something like that.
Yeah, there was a report from Kaspersky on it that they had estimated that over 1 million consumer motherboards are potentially affected.
Jeez.
So yeah,
don't update if it's not broke.
Yeah, right.
But
Either
also
that
still
or
update probably.
check your Mobo because well, it's only if you're using the Asus Live Update tool. So like it's something that you would install that would like automatically update. You know, like people just go and download motherboard drivers or whatever, and it'll just automatically update the BIOS or whatever when it's convenient. So stuff like that. And that is all I've got.
Cool. Then I believe it is time for bonus level 1, aka some Toonskis.
All right, we begin with Undervalued by Kylock and Bree from Skies of Arcadia.
Then a remix from Hollow Knight entitled Gold Path by Rebecca E. Tripp and Gabriel Tripp.
And also a remix from Chrono Cross titled If I Could, Synthwave Mix by Jarito and Joy Dreamer.
Together we will pull through. Though I wonder if you never found me, where would you go? And where would I be? Lost in time and lost in space. Someone else then stole what was your place. But I think if my fate could change, you would be forever here with me. If I go.
It's no meat, but it'll do. Thought I had a couple more seconds of fade out to work there. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't shuffle, so.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't shuffle. Didn't jump to like the opener or something. And I can't even really edit it out in post anymore since we do the live stream stuff. So
Uh-huh.
it's a bit of a problem. Oh well.
Oops.
Oh, dang it. Do they sell those pens that they have, like, at Men in Black?
Right.
Just be like, okay,
Just,
everybody, look at the camera.
Everybody watching for a sec here. But anyways, personal gaming. Besides the stuff we played at the marathon, of course, at Extra Life 2019, which is 2 weeks ago already. My goodness, time flies.
50 more to go.
I suppose that's about right. Yeah.
Yeah,
But we still got one more in between,
that's true.
a bigger one in between. So
True.
hooray! Personal gaming.
Yeah.
Who wants to start?
I'll start. I have one item.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
Pathfinder, done. Move on.
All right.
I haven't had time for PC or any games, really. So,
Yeah.
No, not even any new accidental TGM PBs or.
I haven't played since then. Yeah.
See, now would be the time to strike. Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking about it.
Can't record anyways. May as well just knock
Yeah.
out a PB.
Pretty much. Pretty much. How about you?
Oh, let's see. More World of Warcraft. Battle for Azeroth. At least until Classic comes out. Speaking of which, that's a news item that I forgot to mention. So the metadata for the beta version, so like package name and version, showed up on Blizzard's CDN.
The metabeta?
Metadata.
The beta meta.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, it's gosh, and there were some leaked screenshots already, which totally baffles me, but because I don't think that there's a running build of that anywhere, but who knows?
I mean, wouldn't it just look like the old classic WoW? No.
Nope. So
Hmm.
they took the Legion engine, which is the last expansion, and they combined it with the database data from that they were able to rescue from forever ago, and they worked on getting like feature parity between like the
I
old
see.
code and the modern engine, but they wanted to keep stuff like BattleNet integration and all that other fun stuff,
Right. Okay.
and their anti-cheat stuff. So yeah, it's kind of a hybrid between old and new. And so historically, it's been when the metadata for the beta shows up on the CDN, it's only like 2 to 4 weeks until it becomes available for people who are selected for it. So
Okay.
Blizzard mentioned that kind of in closing, that they were wishing us a classic summer.
Gee.
So
Very thinly veiled.
that kind of lines up with a release at the beginning of summer, which kind of rocks. So
That's like 2 months. Month
Yeah.
and a half.
yeah, if the beta's a few weeks off, and they have a couple weeks of beta, and then they drop it on everyone, that lines up. So I really hope that I get an invite to the beta because anyway. So there's that. Been playing some more DDR. I did get a little bit of time in on Final Fantasy IX. I'm gonna pick that back up and start playing like significant amounts again. Biomenace. I know that was something that I played at Extra Life, but I've been playing it afterwards to try and work out some better tech, some better movement tech. There's a lot of fun little things that I still need to document. I don't know if I'm going to be running that again, but I don't know. Maybe if the time savings is significant enough, I could do that.
Kidding. It's not even on speedrun.com?
No.
What the hey-ho?
Yeah.
Well, you can start a game.
Yeah, so there is someone who has done some very fast Biomenace runs, but they did episodes 1 and 2, and I couldn't find the third one. And then I went to go on test videos. Someone did tool-assisted speedruns. They did episodes 1 and 2.
Oh, hey, what the hell?
So
no love for episode 3?
I mean, it's the worst out of the 3, but
naturally, yeah.
it's, you know, it's. I think I saw a video of episode 3 online, but it was like really old and super low quality. Like it was like someone encoded this, 15 years ago. So
right,
something like that.
I know of that type of video.
Yep. It's like 144p. So yeah, on top of that, I've been playing a whole crap ton of Diablo 1 because now I'm addicted again, and my character's level 25, and I still haven't defeated Diablo because over-leveling for the occasion is just a habit. He can relate.
You're feeding into each other's bad habits here.
Maybe a little.
This might be the reason I haven't started FF8 again, because I know it'd be like 10 hours of, oh, I haven't even gone into the first cave yet. Whoops. Yeah.
But before I even met you, one of my other friends here in town had mentioned you, not directly, but saying, "Oh gosh, like I know this guy who like we were gonna try sharing Final Fantasy VIII, and we were gonna like try to co-op play through it, and he
Was it? Oh, was it? Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and he was
Gee, I
all
wonder
like,
who this is.
yeah,
Get jerk.
he was all like, and I gave it to him, to play for a bit, and I got it back, and like he'd already like crazy power leveled the whole thing, and he was still in the same area that I gave it to him.
This is what happens. It's like when we were playing FF2 and we were like, oh, now we know how to game the system, and then it gamed the system.
Well, that one was a touch more difficult.
Yeah,
It
I
was.
think.
that one you actually have to have
trade.
trade-offs. You don't.
No, that wasn't the one.
I kept attacking myself in order to get my defense to be higher.
Right,
Or my
yeah.
HP or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I mean,
Yeah.
We could never figure out how to level up spells, though, I don't think.
yeah, I don't know.
Probably
It was
just
weird.
use spells.
Yeah, it was. I think it was number of uses and some other mysterious factor that never quite made sense. So we had super low level everything. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It could be so like in Final Fantasy VII, you can level up your
Materia.
your limit spells by like using it to finish off an enemy like a certain number of times, and then you can get
I
the next
getcha.
level. So maybe it was
Gotcha.
something like that.
I don't know. They were real jerks about it, though.
Yeah.
I remember you were sleeping in one Saturday and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go do this. And then I like power grinded for 4 hours before you woke up. And you're like, what the fuck? What did you do? I'm just like, oh, I haven't really moved anywhere,
Yeah.
but here you go. Enjoy.
If I ever
Yeah.
need to gain, 10 or 15 levels all while
Right.
sleeping, all I got to do is hand it off to this bot over here. And
I remember FF3 being a pain as well.
Oh,
so I think it was just
yeah.
those dumbass hand enemies that kept splitting for some mysterious reason, and we could never figure out how to just wipe them all at once. And it was-
Yeah, yeah. FF3, that was,
Ugh.
oh, wow. That was a time. I want to go back and play it, though, especially the DS remake, because it was really good. The DS remake of 3 was outstanding. But there are a lot of DS games I want to go back and play. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I will say though that after picking up those PC CRTs, like new old stock Dell monitors, but they're like late. They're late.
real late in the game, like
Yeah.
they're early 2000s monitors.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they're
that's
flat
impressive.
screen and they don't go back this far. They're only like that deep.
yeah. Well, mine
and-
is still curved, but the models that you got for ZHP were flat. Those are the
Yeah.
nicer ones. But yeah, 0 hours on them for 0 hour productions.
Nice.
Yeah, that was the joke.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Shit, then we can't use them for more than 59 minutes.
Yeah.
Because then it'll be then not 0 hours. And,
You're just gonna have to set the clock back every hour.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. Or reset the BIOS, then it's perpetually 0.
59-minute runs only. You
Yeah,
cannot go an
exactly.
hour.
We'll need to replace the tube every time.
Yeah. Oh, nasty.
Yeah, I know, right?
As long as we get to explode them.
Yeah.
Well, true. That's like the people
Then
who
it's
only
fun.
wear a pair of socks one time.
What?
'Cause
People
apparently
do
that's
that?
a thing.
Fucking wasteful. Excuse me.
Like,
There-
what am I supposed to do? Wash them?
Yes.
Exactly. There are apparently rich people who only wear socks
Well,
once,
okay,
Yeah.
rich people say no more.
but then
Eat
they
the rich.
get rid of them. I hope they donate them. Because, I mean, they're practically new.
They are pretty much new at that point.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Ugh.
You don't
Anyways.
generally find socks at Goodwill unless they're like already packaged.
I don't think they even allow you to donate, like,
Like,
undergarments
they
and
won't-
things
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
That and,
would
like,
be bad.
Yeah, because I mean, like, you know, for the same reason they don't do underwear.
Just let's move on.
Why would you bring that up?
Moving on.
Yes.
How about you, Mr. Bond?
Oh boy. So Lama Lana 2 is still a thing, apparently.
I have a feeling it's going to be a thing for a while.
Just
Just-
finished
just
session
thinking.
14 this past Wednesday. And it's picking up again. It's been a very up and down sort of thing. Well, I make a butt ton of progress one night and then get stonewalled for a night and a half and then,
And then sleep on it.
sleep on it and
Yeah.
discover one other obtuse thing that I missed, and then it cracks the thing wide open.
Is it
and
just like a light bulb moment, or do you just kind of stumble upon them?
a little of both?
Okay.
Mm.
Honestly, sometimes it's like logical. Oh yeah, I never thought of it. And sometimes it's like, okay, how would you
Yeah.
know that?
Exactly.
You wouldn't. But I'll just brute force it and see what happens. Oh, sure enough.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Thanks. Anyways, so I couldn't even say like what percentage of the game I'm through. It feels like it's maybe past halfway point at this point, but
Nice.
Does it feel like it's getting more difficult as you progress through, or is it just kind of more like discover the thing?
They've done a pretty good job of balancing it such that it's a fairly consistent difficulty. Like,
Okay.
yeah, enemies will get tougher, but you'll get new items and weapons to kind of deal with them in a better way.
Right.
So it's never, if you get like severely outclassed, that's probably a pretty good sign you're not supposed to be there.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, okay,
That's a classic
that's
scale of
fair.
difficulty.
That's
yeah.
fair. Okay, I can be okay with that part of it. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe round 68, I'll still be playing fucking Lama Lana 2. Who knows? I can't. If I take a break from it or something, I'm gonna forget everything
Yeah.
about it. I'm gonna forget where I want to go, even though I'm writing everything down like religiously. I'm gonna forget what I'm doing and forget where I want to go, and then it'll just be a disaster. So we're just gonna see it through all the way to the end. Finished up with V5. That was Shmup Book Club's March Shmup. And started on our April Shmup Dangon Feveron, which a viewer yesterday made a very apt analogy. It's like a shmup collided with a disco ball. It's just pretty much it, because it's
Oh.
very disco themed, and it's got some kick-ass tunes and a very excited announcer guy who's like, "Viva! Can you feel it?" And yeah, it's just like, all right, I can get behind this game. This is awesome.
So Dangun means disco. Got it.
Pretty
Then
much.
it could be disco fever.
Probably. You know, you're probably not
Yeah.
wrong. I never thought to look it up, but you're probably not wrong.
Now I want to know.
But that's the April shmup, and then the new quarterly shmup for April through June is Armed Police Bat Rider, which I haven't started playing yet, so I don't know if it's good or not, or great or whatever. People swear by it. It's really complicated and all this shit. So I'm like, oh, okay, well maybe next week I'll try it. I've also been playing a bit of the good old OG classic Doom with a level generator, actually, of all things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
How bad is it?
it's not, actually, which is really weird. So Randomania, big randomizer featured channel, YouTube, Twitch, and all that, kind of showcased a Doom randomizer. I'm like, that's a thing?
Hmm.
I looked up. Okay,
Yeah.
so it turns out it's a level generator. I'm like, oh, okay, well, download it, check it out. And it's like, oh, well, this is not super terrible. with any sort of like proc gen level generator, you'd start to recognize the patterns after a while of
Right.
where shit is going to be and whatever. But honestly, like this thing can spit out huge ass levels with 500 monsters in it. So it's
Nice.
like,
Wow.
whoa, all right, so this is going to take me 15 minutes because I'm a very cautious Doom player. But it's like, oh, okay, well, it can spit out a full 32 map episode or 32 map game, and
Nice.
that's good for a long time.
Yeah.
Nice. That's
There
kinda
was
cool.
a randomizer that I had used back when Doom was still kind of fresh, like so the 90s pretty much. And it wasn't good at all. It more like it was more like a random block maze generator.
Huh.
So kind of like, you know,
Interesting. Yeah, okay.
it was a lot more bland. I'm kind of curious like how far randomization of maps has come
Yeah,
now.
I mean, this one's pretty good. It seems to flow through different areas of the map pretty well. It's got a bunch
Nice.
of, switches and keys are in logical places, not too obtuse or anything like that.
Okay.
The secrets generation is kind of wonky because, well, you're not gonna know they're there, so they gotta have little cues, and so it's like, okay, a mismatched texture or a discolored wall or a
Yeah.
light that shouldn't be there or some other marker. So it's like, well, okay, you can't really do much with that, but
Yeah.
whatever. So if anybody's interested in looking at it, the generator itself is called Oblige.
Okay. Yeah, I
And
definitely want to check this out.
It's very, very interesting. And it's like, oh, well, I kind of expected it to be shitty because, I mean, Doom's this hallowed classic. How can you even approach something? It's certainly not going to be the quality of a nice handcrafted level.
Yeah.
It's like no question about that, but they are surprisingly solid.
So
Nice.
it basically generates wads.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right, and then you can load
And then
them
you
in
load
here.
it up in GZ Doom or whatever, or Chalka Doom or
That's something
Classic
that
Doom
I-
Engine and go to town.
That's something that I think would be a lot of fun to do. Maybe I could rope Spectre into that too.
A lot of fun to Doom.
Ah.
Also true. Oh, besides that, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past randos, enemy rando turned on, and Saltandred Cactus. I did a pair of just normal ass speedruns the other day, and I was on pace for PBs in both of them, and I got fucked over
Oh.
right at the end, as one is
Geometry
in that
Wars,
game.
or,
No, the licorice fight. The licorice fight
okay.
popped 2 batteries to her, and that was the end of that PB.
Oh no.
So it was like, oh, well, okay. But at least I know I still got it, sort of. So that's fun.
That is the most evil fight.
It is. And it's really the only thing I can say against that game as a speed game is that the gatekeeper's way at the end.
Yeah.
It's just like, dang it. But it's like, it's never unfair. It's always your fault when shit goes wrong. So
Yeah.
that kind of offsets it. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm pissed that I lost a PB, but hey, that's me.
I
that
was gonna
that
say,
is
it's all my
on
fault.
me, not the game. All right, shall we hit bonus level number 2 for some more
I
Toonskis?
suppose
Yeah.
we can. Let's see here. Rainbow in Your Eyes by Lampgy for Life from Mario Kart 7.
And a remix from Nemesis 3 entitled Follow the Sun by Dorito, John Stacy, Damian Nguyen, Gamer of the Winds, DS, and Bardic Knowledge.
All right, and I've got a remix from Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge, titled Three-Headed Monkey Combat by Yafitch.
Well,
All I gotta say to that is bork, bork, bork.
it had kind of that quality to it.
Yeah,
didn't
it sure
it?
did.
Oh, Monkey Island! What a treasurable series
Yeah.
that was.
It's a joke because pirates.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So unintended, but okay,
Yeah.
cool.
We'll
I'll
go with that.
it. I'll take it. That's fine. So, apropos to the name of the round, 10K Club,
Mm-hmm.
and since we are going to be
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about a brief postmortem to Extra Life 2019, our event we just had happen 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
As of that event, we have collectively, we being Zero Hour Productions and affiliates and everybody else who was involved in these events, in the 6 events that we've done, we have raised a collective $10,000. So 10K Club. So go us
Indeed.
way! Yay! We did it.
So as of the end of Extra Life 2019, that event raised $1,650 even. That brought the grand total across all of the events, starting with Extra Life 2017 and moving forward, to $10,073.38. So that happened, finally.
Right.
We hit that 5-digit mark. That was
So,
pretty cool.
Yeah, so as silly as kind of arbitrary numeric milestones are, I think that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
We have done a good, and we shall continue to do many goods, I hope.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Right?
I'd like that.
So in terms of Extra Life 2019 in particular, I guess in a general sense, my commentary on it is it's improved, which is good.
Mhm.
It's always good to see everything moving in a very positive direction. The processes that we followed improved greatly since we learn more with each subsequent event that we then apply to the next one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In particular, I thought our between game transitions were much smoother this time.
Yeah.
Assisted greatly by improvements to our software, improvements in our understanding of our own processes and moving that. Improvements in audio routing certainly helped out a great deal.
Yep.
Less clicks and different screens and such to kind of shift about certainly helped.
We didn't have any manual Python scripts running like
Right,
2017.
Right?
Yeah.
See, everybody's got
Yeah.
to start somewhere, and
Yeah,
starting
totally.
there was, it was a start.
It did the job.
It did the job, certainly. And I expect us to even improve from this one too. On the opposite side of the coin, however, there's certainly parts where we can improve even further. And some of these things you don't really notice until afterwards.
Yeah.
When you're reviewing the recordings or you just kind of have time to process what happened or,
Sure.
or whatever, stuff like that. So kind of outside of that, like I was thinking about this the other day, it's like, okay, so Extra Life 2019 is done. There was something kind of sticking in the back of my mind, like what happened? Like there was something kind of like, and then I kind of realized what it was, and it's something that we sort of ran into in Extra Life 2017. Is like we were super optimistic with the schedule.
Uh-huh.
We jam-packed that motherfucker full.
Yeah.
Yep.
No breaks in between, no like accounting for meals or even setup times, or
Yeah.
even if shit goes even a little tiny bit wrong for a minute, we had stacked,
Yep.
boom, back to back, which ultimately we weren't that far behind on the event as a whole. I don't think
We did cut one game.
we did cut one game. We'd cut New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Time Splitters 2 Q Edition or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was like a 2-hour block or something, which
Yep.
is a significant thing to cut to kind of catch us back up and
Yeah.
stuff that we were missing.
Yeah.
And this is accounting for the kind of the 30-minute delay we had on Saturday because of some technical issues that we couldn't have foreseen and we couldn't have really prepared for beforehand.
Right.
So I'm not even accounting for that.
Right.
So having already kind of seen this issue in 2017, we did good in 2018 not seeing that sort of thing. Then we come back to it in 2019. It's like, okay, all right, so now we had the issue.
Mm-hmm.
We fixed it sort of and didn't encounter it in the next one, and then we came back to it. So now we've got to make sure we don't do that, and then we continue not doing that
Right.
for the future. So it's probably more on us when we schedule to be like, okay, so here's our optimistic schedule.
Right.
Here's the breaks. Now let's shuffle around.
Yeah.
Let's shuffle it around a little bit more.
Absolutely.
And some of it was helped along by some runs went long, naturally. One of my own runs went long. The Cactus All Androids Boss Rush went like 5 minutes over or something. So we need to maybe pad our estimates a little bit more.
Mhm.
The Doom run went long a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. That one
Um,
was just straight up lack of preparation.
And that certainly could be part of it too, but I think the estimate we were operating under was kind of like not necessarily aggressive, but we really didn't know.
Yeah.
We were just kind of guessing, like, hour and a half. Does that sound good? Yeah, okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. It didn't sound incorrect,
Yeah,
but
right.
I mean, to be honest,
we didn't really know enough at the time to be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this is a good estimate, or this is
Yeah.
a not good enough estimate. We
Yeah.
need to improve it.
like I don't know how long it takes to play through Doom 2. I
Mhm.
just know that I know how to play Doom 2. But there was we I think that is a run that could have taken half the time if we did any sort of like co-op planning whatsoever. We just kind of thrust ourselves into that one.
Right. I mean, let's not be incorrect. It was entertaining as hell.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it was
Yeah.
really good. It was really funny, and like I've got nostalgia for Doom out the ass. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is fun to watch regardless of what
Yeah.
happens to it.
And
So
we-
Two cyber demons.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
it's
gosh,
so
that caught
funny.
both of us off guard because that is multiplayer only
Oh,
stuff.
it's so funny. But yeah, in terms of both the scheduling and the estimates, it's a problem we are now very keenly aware of,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
we'll definitely be fixing for later on. Kind of ancillary to that is that back in Extra Life 2017, we did like a single day 24-hour run through with, was it 5? Did we have 5 of us or was it 4 of us at that point?
Well, it was myself, you, Saxxon was there at least for audio stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
EI, that was the first time I met EI
Yep.
in Eon.
Mhm.
Okay, so we had 4.5, 5,
And
Yeah,
then
whatever.
we also had one other.
Didn't
We had Boris.
Yeah,
Boris
yeah.
was there for a
Boris
couple
was there
rounds.
for Keep Talking, Nobody Explodes.
Yeah. And I think he was
Mario
also there
Kart,
to sing
probably?
along for.
Oh, yeah,
Cactus.
for Cactus, right. Yeah.
So then one of the problems we had run into in 2017 was that eventually we had to have dead air there just so we could all eat.
Yeah.
Really. And we ran into that same problem here in 2019, despite the fact that we had 8 people.
Right.
And by all rights, we should have had enough rotation in and out where we didn't have to break for 30 minutes just
Yeah.
to go eat. We could have scheduled that around a little bit better too.
Right.
Okay, yeah, like we've still got a pretty full schedule, but we can still have somebody on host, somebody doing a run, and 2 people going to eat or something, then just
Yeah.
kind of shift it out by 2 hours or whatever it was. And that's something that kind of struck me as odd. It's like, okay, we fixed this in 2018 again, but
Yeah.
now we're running into it again in 2019. It's like maybe we didn't think it was a problem that we had accidentally fixed, but I don't know. It's kind of something for us to think about for next time again.
Yeah, sure.
And that's kind of really the real big ones that stuck out to me as being things that are within our control to fix for next time. Certainly for Super Sigma Slam 2019
Yeah,
coming up in
right.
October, and then certainly for Extra Life 2020. Ugh,
Yeah.
that's a year that's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah.
it sure is.
Weird.
It'll be a good
Super
year for
weird.
reflection.
It sure will be. It sure will be.
We'll be doing setup in 5 months for Super Stigma Slam
Oh.
2019.
Yeah.
About this weekend. Or the weekend after.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple weeks before, certainly.
Yeah.
So
I am kind of curious. Have we started doing anything like planning wise for that yet, or not? Not quite.
Yes.
we know dates.
We
And,
have dates, and we are doing a lot of supporting tasks for it already. So
Excellent. Okay.
or at least tracking them.
Yeah.
Tracking them very diligently, which is good.
Certainly buying hardware.
Yeah, I will say that's another plus to Extra Life 2019 was that we were much better and on the ball about task tracking.
Yep.
Which doesn't sound exciting and sexy, and it isn't. Let's be honest, it
That's
isn't.
why it's overlooked.
But it's very important.
Yeah.
Very.
It's very important, both to me personally, and I'm sure you, Tormod, as the producer.
Oh, yes.
We all need to be very aware of what's going on and what needs to be done still. So kudos to everybody involved for putting up with my whining to put tasks in Trello, please.
It's a good thing to continuously repeat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I will say, back on the topic of things we could do to give ourselves time for setup and meals and such. GDQ has it such that if a donation incentive isn't met, you still have a setup block. So they convert setup blocks to bonus games. So things like the BSF0GX, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I guess that was slipped in there. Yeah, yeah.
It sure was, and that's one of the reasons why we fell behind, is because we wanted to give that a fair go. And it ended up being really good content too once we figured out how to get it to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But something to consider is, well, if we have bonus games, which why not? We will have more submissions for Super Stigma Slam probably than we'll be able to fit on the schedule. We can always have things earmarked even for well, if we find room in the schedule, here you go,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So, giving ourselves 3 or 4 bonus game blocks a day would help us plan for stuff like that. Like, even if we needed to grab a quick meal or something like that, if we're aggressive with the donation incentive, for sure, why not? Even if it's met, we can just swap out and be like, okay, this is your game, you, host,
Right.
bye.
Yeah. You start, and we'll be back in 20 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, stuff like that. So, I mean, it's doable. This last time, I was just kind of like, I want to see what happens if I host the whole time. Spoilers, I got real hungry. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hence why having other people around to rotate in and at
Oh,
least
yeah.
be
Yeah.
halfway competent with
Totally.
hosting is definitely a good thing.
so my intent, probably a month before, is to get everybody around and be like, okay, we're doing a mock stream. We're going to do this. I'm going to shadow you, or rather, maybe you shadow me or whatever the case is, and then we're going to go through everything and be like, okay, these are the 7 steps that we always follow. This is the type of commentary. If you don't know anything about the game, just at least keep dead air off the air, that kind of thing. So I'm going to do more documentation and training this time so I can feel more able to leave the hosting station. And this time, everybody's all like, still, hey, we want to have long games overnight. Well, cool, I want to sleep too, so we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So, documentation, Trello cards, training.
So that's good. That actually brings up something that I had completely forgotten about. And still had written down.
Nice.
Apparently my eyes just skipped right over it. And this is something I only noticed when looking over recordings too, is like we go from, okay, here's our setup screen.
Yep.
Fade out, switch to game, immediate start of commentary.
Yep.
And it's just like, how do I clip this? How do I highlight this? There's like no dead air I can use for a fade in or a fade out or something.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, we need to put some space in there.
All right.
Be like, okay, here's our game start process. We fade in, we give it like 3, 4, 5 seconds of just find your zen moment or whatever, and then cue player, cue host, whatever, and then go. It's just like, oh shit.
So how much,
Like even the highlighting of the VODs on Twitch was hard sometimes because it was like a quarter second, then I'm like, oh shit. And the Twitch highlighter is only like at a 1 second resolution, so it's like either I have like 3/4 of a second of our setup scene in the clip, or I cut in the middle of a phrase, and it's like, okay, what do I do with this? I don't know. It's not a huge deal. It's just something that you notice at the end of the record, or when the recordings start coming out.
I feel you.
So how much setup time did you put in between the games?
That depended on the game. I rounded up to half hours for all the estimates.
Right, and that's something that we probably need to break ourselves of doing, because
Yeah,
that might have contributed to the scheduling.
Yeah, if I can suggest
intensity?
something, don't roll in setup time into estimates. Absolutely don't. Like, assume that time does not overlap.
Right, and that's kind of something I was sort of maybe vaguely aware of after we had done it. So I tried to make it a point personally while I was there, when we were switching games, to, even if it's a cutover to a game on the same system, always drop to setup for a couple minutes at the very least, because we need to give people to breathe, including us.
Yeah.
We need to give people time to breathe.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it just becomes a massive mess if everybody's just on high energy all the time.
Yeah. And then you end up with a situation where everyone is hungry at the same time.
Right.
So, in the event that we all take a break or nobody's sitting in front of the camera, might not be a bad idea to have something else take the place of the camera. Like, I know we kind of had the translucent song info and stuff like that over the top of it, but that's when people start commenting, oh, it's ChairCon, etc. So, yeah.
Oh, see, I wasn't paying much attention to chat during those times, so I wasn't aware that sort of thing was cropping up.
It was in jest.
Yeah,
but,
of course. But it's like, we can easily avoid that, right?
Having a static setup screen where it's primarily something else to look at, something.
Yeah, we had tossed around vague ideas on what to do with it, and I think eventually it came down to the point where, well, we don't have time to do anything like just a quick animation or whatever. Yeah. Let's just go with what we did last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It shows.
I mean, it
that's
could
fair.
even
That's
be
a fair
just
point.
a like little, if we were feeling, particularly like, oh dang, we want to up the production value, we could take like animation loops or something like that from like video games, like the Unreal Castle flyby. That
Right.
would be a cool thing to throw in between.
Man.
While we're waiting for setup, that kind of thing.
That gives me a super silly idea for like a very obvious, just video loop. Kind of us like doing mundane setup garbo in the setup time, where it's really obvious, like, it goes from just us like setting up stuff up here and then a hard cut to just setting stuff up over there.
Montage.
It's just like, oh yeah, that would go over real well.
Signing into Steam.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually,
click,
okay.
click, click.
I don't know. I kind of approve of this idea. I'm just saying.
What have I done?
Oh, well,
Oh,
guess who
boy.
gets to edit that GIF together?
Yeah.
Right.
GIF.
Fine, make it a video. I don't care.
Yeah.
GIF V, thank you very much, or whatever the heck it was.
Whatever takes less system resources. Apparently, importing GIFs in OBS is like the death knell. So
Yeah. Don't
Huh.
do GIF for any reason anymore ever.
Interesting.
that whatever.
Yeah. But to your point about like more documentation, more training, and all that, we made some improvements on that this time, which I felt was pretty good. We condensed our like, oh, here's the quick set of steps to do between games, went from like 13 to 8 or
It
something.
helped that the back end had a single bloop.
Yeah. I didn't want to bring that up because I felt that would be a little bit too narcissistic, but
No, it's not.
I'm
It was
really
actually
proud
nice.
of it.
I was very happy that I didn't have to have the black screen.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
go in OBS and be
Oh.
like, I hope this is the right one. Go.
Yeah, it went from 3 things to just 1.
Yeah.
Done.
Made an awesome
Perfect.
button.
Yeah, it's pretty legit. WebSockets are useful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we put together a little hosting notes thing
Yeah.
that had every game listed out, and here's some data points you can go to if you need stuff to talk about. And I
Which
wanted to
I
ask.
didn't realize was even there.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask you like, did that help you at all? But apparently you
Nope.
didn't know about it. So
I just
okay.
had the 7 things up for transitioning between games.
All
I'm
right.
like, that's cool, and I have chat, and I have all my other
Yep.
stuff. So yeah,
Okay, so communication is something we need to
Yeah.
improve upon.
I was just kind of like, oh, you just recently ran this game
Damn.
at Blank Marathon, and you did this time, and it was a PB, and
Mhm.
I'm just full of color commentary, and that's pretty much all I do.
Okay. Well, all right. That's a good note for next time then.
Yep.
We need to make that more prominent. And besides that, there's tiny sundry things that don't even warrant a discussion.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a marathon, they do that.
Yeah, it's stuff that happened, will probably continue to happen, and no matter how much we bring it up or talk about it, it'll just keep happening because humans running with tech things will blow up. And things will happen that are completely outside our control.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Whatever. It doesn't stop us from putting on good events.
Mhm.
Like I'm really proud with what we're able to put together. I'm really proud that we improved so much
Mhm.
Yeah.
between events. I mean, even though our last one was a scant 4 months ago,
Yeah.
like we still took that time to hit painful points
Yeah.
from the last
it does
one
feel
and
like
really get rid of them.
Yeah, it does feel like the remaining stuff is starting to get whittled down to less major things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we focused on a lot of the big items, you know, that are like you're gonna get the greatest return for kind of working out those issues. But being it is not a problem to be left with smaller and smaller issues moving forward.
Yeah,
that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Even if the count of them increases, but hey,
Yeah.
like I'd rather deal with 10 small things than 2 really big things that
Yeah.
are like really cringy or something. And it's like,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like I've been monopolizing a lot of this. So if either of you two have post-mortem-y type stuff to say, please by all means.
I was pretty happy with how it went.
Mhm.
By and large, technically, things went a lot better this time. Got to know some more quirks about data path drivers now. Apparently, they've changed how they work. There's no longer user versus kernel mode, and apparently it likes to throw a shit fit if you leave it go into device default resolution and things like that, as we found out like on Saturday when we tried to start with retro stuff. You're like, why can't we get it to capture? It turns out that
Yep.
if you set a manual resolution, it's just fine. I'm like, this is dumb.
Oh, was that the major part of it?
That was the fix. No matter
Oh,
what version, it just kept
interesting.
saying kernel error, and I'm like, the fuck are you on?
Okay.
And yet
I've-
vision window was just fine, and we
Yeah.
were like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mostly had my head over the pile of cables slipping switches, so I
Yeah.
didn't see what was actually going on that she managed to fix it with.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
that
cool,
that
cool,
was
cool.
a fix. For 4.3, I just set the resolution to 1200 by 900, and then things were just fine. And I was like,
Interesting.
you were just a terrible thing, you. But
But hey, we
never
got
had
through
to
it.
do that before, I don't think. But whatever.
Maybe we did, but we didn't know to do that before. But we fixed it in some other menial, mundane way.
I mean, at one point we're using 5x, and I probably did have it manually set to 1600 by 1200 because I know the OSSC is a little weird with line 5x
Right.
specifically, but I'm whatever. It's fine now. It's fine.
He says with a fake smile.
Yeah. The big old eye roll there. But yeah, I mean,
Hilarious.
it's just stuff to learn for the future, and I think it would be a good idea for us to do like a here's a pre-highlight to our next marathon. Some example runs and practices live for you on the CHP account, like 2 or 3 weeks beforehand. Just be like, here we go, cool. Here's a preview of the content, plus I get to work through the tech stack. So something like that, just to make sure that
That's not a
we're
bad idea.
not going to upgrade drivers. We're not going to move new versions of the datapath software on there. We're going to keep everything as it is. We'll
Mhm.
uncover probably most of the issues that day, and then we'll have a better chance at something that's more well polished when we do the event. So something like that, maybe. That's
Ooh,
really
another good thing that I thought of, actually. I was really impressed with our 4X and 3X screens. Like,
yeah.
I watched a brief
Yeah.
moment of the F-Zero and then the BSF-02
Yep.
things. I'm like,
Those are outstanding.
dang,
Yeah.
that looks really good.
I threw those up on second screen today, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I am really impressed with how these came out.
Yeah, it's
Also,
like,
audio indicators.
Yeah,
That was nice.
that was like a really tiny thing that turned out to have a pretty good impact.
yeah,
Yep. Good quality of life thing.
It's just like, oh, well, hey, this is like when I put together the task list for the layout compositor that we're using. It was just like, well, here's the thing. It seems kind of silly and dumb and kind of hard to do with the current architecture of it. And then I looked at it later and was like, oh, this is an hour of work. All right.
yeah.
And
Light
it's
bulb
done.
moment. There you go.
Done.
Yeah,
And it was like, oh, hey, cool. This actually works pretty well. And I'm glad it did.
Mm-hmm.
Hiding divs.
That's more or less what it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, there you go,
That's more or less what
CSS.
it does.
Nice.
But yeah, I think as any project of this size and complexity, the task list never seems to shrink.
Oh no.
Which sounds bad. But if you start looking at what those tasks start to become and morph into, like you said, like we're always gonna get smaller things coming in. We're turning big things into much smaller things, which is
Yeah.
good. Like that's kind of like on balance, at least for the Stream Tech Stack, the layout compositor, our hardware purchases.
Mhm.
We start discovering more like what would improve this thing. It's like, oh well, it's real quick to just put a task in it, and then we can prioritize and work it out. And it's on balance, I think if you look at the raw number of tasks or something, before we started work on Extra Life 2019, and now I'd say now we have more tasks, and it's like raw numbers, like heart attack already. It's like
Yep.
shit. What
Yeah.
did I forget? But it's like no. If you look at kind of the movement from all right, not started, in progress, tested, done. It's like
You need some analytics.
yeah, right. And it's no, I don't, because analytics sucks ass. I hate it.
Mhm.
But just looking at kind of like eyeballing that, it's just like okay, heart attack averted. We did a lot of shit, and we
Yeah.
discovered more things that we can do. Chill.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, okay, cool. Very good. I like to see that kind of progress. As a professional software developer from start to finish, that's always kind of my fears that projects never and ever end.
Yeah.
Because they don't. They
They
don't.
never
they
do.
there will never be a completed state. There will never be a perfect state. But kind of coming to that realization and acknowledging it is just it's something you have to do, especially with something like this. Like if we had unlimited time and unlimited money, we still couldn't perfect it
Yeah.
ever. And since we don't have either of those things unlimited, it becomes a real interesting game of, okay, well, here's what we can do. We can do about half of that in reality.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Here's what we did with that
Yep.
half.
It kind of
And-
becomes like, is this a particularly valuable problem to solve right now?
Right. And sometimes you don't realize that is either yes or no until you're halfway through it. And it's
Yeah.
like, well,
That's why you put
shit.
I'm gonna put a pin in that one.
Yep. I'm gonna keep it written down there, and I'm just gonna move it on back,
Yeah.
and then come back to it. But I honestly, I think we did a very good job,
Mhm.
and there's certainly much better that we can do.
Yeah.
But that doesn't discount the fact that we did a very good job.
Yeah, that felt like an extremely solid experience, both as a as a runner, as a spectator, and honestly, I didn't really have to do that much tech, which is kind of an awesome thing. It felt like a lot of that stuff was it was figured out ahead of time, or kind of, like it was part of a process that required fewer people to be able to carry out.
Mm-hmm.
So they just the processes became so efficient that all I had to do was, roll my card in and run some games.
Yeah, and I've been following your little tweets about the retro cart too, about all the improvements you're making to them. I just sit back and go, yeah.
A lot of those are
it's
to
the
make
good stuff.
marathons easier.
It's the good stuff
The
right
one
there.
VGA thing that I bought was explicitly a lesson learned from the marathon, because the cable management was so ridiculous. I was inspired to completely redo the whole thing afterwards.
Now
so.
we have VGA ports on the outside of the card that would just go bloop.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw a couple notes about that. I'm like, that's a good idea.
I have
That's
extension cables hooked up for like the mouse and keyboard for both of the computers, and so basically it's just going to be like, if I want to roll it out of my room, just disconnect my capture setup and roll the cart right out.
Right.
I don't have to fool around with any of the cables on the inside now.
And like hindsight, that would seem pretty obvious, right?
Yeah.
But the reality of it is like you don't really realize that until you put into practice.
Yeah.
Like you try to use, you're thinking, oh yeah, it'll be fine for the event.
Yeah.
It'll be fine for the event. It's
yeah,
like,
because I figured
event
it'll be
time's
like, oh, I'll just reach my
shit.
hand in. Yeah.
Yeah, right? And it's like, well, okay, now we know.
Yep.
We've got a good solution for it. Let's implement it, and the next time it's smooth.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's really good. That's a pattern I've noticed with our stuff, is that we do an event, we figure out bad things, we fix it, and the next event it's much better.
Well, like
and
we
then we
don't
find new things.
We don't
And
want to
then-
have to deal with the boring shit.
Right.
That's we're removing the boring shit so that we can stick to the exciting shit.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as I kind of like to describe that as being aggressively lazy.
That is the very nature of a programmer.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
I didn't even need to say it.
I know.
Here I am doing this dull bullshit. I could continue doing this dull bullshit forever, repetitiously, or I could spend what seems like a 5x amount of time on fixing it and then never do it again.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, okay, yeah, let's do it.
Yep.
And kind of in the short-term view for non-programmers, I guess, is that it seems like a waste of time to do it that way, because, oh, you have already got a process that works. Why aren't you just using that? It's like, no. No, we're going to fix it.
Yeah.
It'll take a long time to fix, but after that, then our time spent on it goes very close to zero.
Yeah.
See, like, that's that lovely word that all of you people in Agile like to hear now, is iterating.
Yeah.
It's a weird buzzword, but yeah, it's still kind of true. It's still kind of true.
I figured I'd throw it out there because
Agile, I don't think was made for the developers. I think Agile was really invented to keep like the higher ups
managers,
off
yeah.
the developers'
Yeah, it's made
asses.
for
No,
middle
yeah,
management.
no, I
That's-
understand entirely.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, I'm done waxing about cool processes that we have accidentally somehow managed to make work. If there are no other final closing thoughts, I think we can wrap this.
I think I'm good.
I got one other thing.
Sure.
And some of that is automating some of the other promotional aspects of this. So like a Twitter bot that might tie into the API, something like a promo video that comes out a couple weeks before the event, that kind of thing. And like that last one is especially up my alley because I love working with like, media and stuff like that. So
And it would be really cool to have like a bunch of tweets just ready to go and be like, bloop.
yeah.
That's like one of the first tasks I put in after the event was done. Twitter integration.
Yes.
Generate tweet. Post.
Yeah.
Take game and player. Starting now.
Yep. And just
So we
spit it
don't
out
have to
Twitter.
quick tap
Yeah.
at
Yep.
the phone to send out a twit.
And I would love to be able to like, put in a process where I can tie into that so that like I can get that sent out or I can, auto retweet or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Because like he's got reach, I have reach, you probably got reach too. Not really.
well,
Not really, but I do it anyways.
Yeah. And so like
Oh,
between the
dang.
three of us, like there's, I think it's going to call a lot more attention to the run, especially if we do it in kind of a structured manner.
Yep.
Right.
So
Yep. So those mundane automations are kind of small, but they add up.
Yeah.
So it's like, well,
Yeah.
And that's
okay.
fun stuff that can be done like in advance of the event. Like this is it doesn't, minus the media thing, which, okay, you might have to devote some attention to, like, filming and editing and, getting music ready and post and stuff. But I mean, like, it's not, it's not really it's not critical, but it's kind of a cool, fun thing to do on top.
Yeah, but it will pay out
Yeah.
as if it were a critical.
It'll take repetition, but I think it will.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up because that was one thing I wrote down as well in the task list for Stream Tech. It's like, okay, well, we know what's coming up. We have the data for this. Why are we typing out with our meat sausage fingers and not letting the computer, the one that excels at the mundane, do this for us?
Yeah. That's all I got.
All right. Anything else?
No.
All right, cool. Well, that'll do it for round 67. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. I'm MrBond.
I'm Tormod.
And I'm Saxxon.
We'll leave you with our typical closing track, a remix from Mario Kart Wii entitled Wind in Your Hair by Overclocked University. Good night, everybody.
Ciao.
Adios.